I think the biggest differential shittage for this game week will be if Harry Kane and Son blank. For me, that will be the biggest differential.
Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Escapades. My name is 𝗧𝗘𝗔𝗡𝗥 and I'm joined by Anand and a very special guest from the FPL review session, 𝗧𝗥𝗣𝗡𝗦, joining us to discuss the FPL assets for double game week 32. 𝗧𝗥𝗣𝗡𝗦, welcome back, brother. It's been some time that you've been here discussing the FPL assets for an upcoming game week and absolutely nailing on some predictions when you talk about the players in the review session as well. How has FPL been so far, and how was Game Week 31?
First of all, lads, it's a pleasure to be back. Always, I get to talk to Anand, once in a while he's on the episode, but you and Akshay, man, we miss you there. And, you should join us, come talk to Amit, man. He has some crazy, crazy ideas, what to do FPL wise. Good to be back. FPL wise, man, it's been a roller coaster ride. The last couple of game weeks haven't been, good game weeks. Average or below average is how I've been going. It's like you can see, uh, chose the captain 𝗣𝗟𝗡𝗥. I think did not do my research properly there. But the only saving grace, man, is Lingard in the team. 14 points of the 41, thanks to Mr. Premier League right now. Uh, Vice captain also Bamford playing in, but pretty disappointed with that defense, man. I mean, it's 2 points. That's criminal.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, but you were lucky to catch a break that you did not fall into the trap of Pep Roule's, wherein Cancelo, Stones, and Sterling all did play and to return you points. I think it was that kind of a
Isn't
week
that
where,
worse, man?
but it was indeed that kind of a week where
Yeah,
a majority of the captain picks did not really fare well, apart from I think Salah and Son. I
absolutely.
think nobody else did give big points, and all of the differential captains. At least I do not know any FPL manager who would have captained 𝗧𝗏𝗡𝗏 or Lingard. But yeah, definitely, I think
I
that.
do, man. And sorry to cut you off, Manchester, but shout out to 𝗥𝗘𝗍𝗍, man. He captained Lingard. He told me that he'd captain 𝗧𝗏𝗡𝗏, that is Anand. And kudos to him, man. He's been going up the table. So, yeah,
Then that
Lingard, co
it would have
captain.
been a crazy pick. I did have confidence in Lingard myself that I got him in last game week, but yeah, definitely not big enough balls to captain him going into a game week like this. Should have, but yeah, definitely. I think 41 is still a decent uh, run of points when you compare it to mine. I also had only 9 players playing, spent a free transfer on getting in Neto, played the vice captainship on him, thinking that he might score, but unfortunately ended up going off the pitch at 32 minutes after getting injured and out for the remainder of the season. And that put me in a bit of a bother as well, because I got caught in the Pep Roulette event of things wherein Diaz and KDB both got benched. KDB was my captain, didn't play. Diaz didn't play either. A target came off the bench to give me as good as nothing, absolutely zero. DCL ended up not playing, so that hurt a lot. So all in all, yeah, I 36 points and courtesy Lingard, like you, 𝗬𝗏𝗡𝗏 and Watkins, 22 points coming out of 2 players, 36. Horrible week. Seems like I was talking about earlier that all of the luck slash skill till game week 30 ended up going
That's
back.
God, man.
Yeah, and fell to 300k plus for the first time in I think 10-12 game weeks. So that hurt, but uh, in the grand scheme of things, Anand, apparently a great week, man. I think 66 points, if
Yeah.
I'm not wrong, and what a team.
Like you guys already
Oh,
said, I was a bit lucky as Aina gave me a clean sheet, although Fulham didn't keep a clean sheet. So for all the
that
viewers
one out.
who didn't watch Fulham versus Wolves, so Aina came off, I guess, in the 70th minute, so his clean sheet was logged, and then Fulham ended up conceding an injury time goal when Traore smashed that ball and gave Wolves the winner. But yeah, it was pretty lucky. Although with Aina, this is a pattern that I've noticed in the last few game weeks. If if Scott Parker, plays with a three at the back, then Aina is somebody who sometimes is sacrificed. Just if you guys remember, a few game weeks back, he was subbed at the 45th minute mark, and in that game, Fulham kept a clean sheet. So, it's a cycle. I got 1 point from Aina that game week. I was so unlucky. Fulham ended up keeping a clean sheet, but he gave one because he was subbed at 45th minute. So I think it has just come back. What goes around comes around. So I think that is why finally Aina gave me the point. Because people will always be up to call somebody lucky, but when they were unlucky, people just laugh about it. So,
you can
and
see me
regarding
smiling when I look
Dallas,
at Dallas's 17 points.
so with Dallas, it was a pretty lucky break again. But again, this was a calculated risk as well because I'm not somebody who has owned Alonso just for the last 2 game weeks. I'm somebody who's owned Alonso for the last 10, 11 game weeks since Tuchel has arrived. And since we got the idea that Tuchel might play Alonso in a game or two here and there. And I was always prepared to take that risk because I always knew that I had somebody like an Aina or a Dallas on my bench. This game week, because Chilwell had started against Porto, and given the pattern that we had seen so far, that whenever Chelsea's playing against pacey up top players, so Palace do have some pacey guys like Zaha. Then they also have Eze. They even have Mateta on the bench. Batshuayi, although he was on loan and couldn't play against Chelsea because of the league tide thing. But then the entire question came down to should I, if Alonso doesn't play, because I already knew this didn't happen for sure. So if I don't play, who should be my first defender on the bench? Should it be Dallas or Stones? And I see a lot of people started City defender, and that was something because in the Twitter community, everybody thought that City will just smash Leeds, but then I just felt somehow realized that City might rotate because they'll be playing the Champions League match against Dortmund. So I just felt that he might rest his players, and Leeds nevertheless would have attacked, even if City would have played the likes of Gundogan or KDB. But I just
Absolutely.
somehow felt that it's just too risky, and Pep might just bench all his star players. So that was the thought process to put Dallas ahead of Stones on the bench. So it was a pretty calculative risk. But yeah, I probably
Paid
thought
off,
at
man.
max I would get an assist, maybe max a goal, but never ever thought that.
Anand, it's just, I'm just reiterating my thought here, on the fact that how the Leeds defenders are, somewhat fixture proof.
Yeah,
I mean, what bigger fixture than, playing the champions and, when you're, one of your fullbacks or a defender gets, attacking returns. And I was watching Alioski as well. It's not that he was not, did not get his chances or, he had a clean sheet for, the majority of the match. So,
yeah,
with Leeds, you don't really know what you're going to get.
And
They
absolutely, and
yeah,
could
that
have
too with
easily,
10 men, man. That too with 10 men against the
yeah,
yeah.
Champions
that
League, stepping up
absolutely,
big time.
absolutely. So that
Honestly,
just,
another thing I would just like to add another thing. I think Dallas returning for a lot of managers and Dallas not able to return for a lot of managers because he was the third sub. I think everybody has to blame Pep for that because when Leeds went down to 10 men, I think that was naive of Pep to not introduce the likes of KDB because he would have killed it. KDB
Absolutely.
against those 10 men, he would have absolutely killed it. They would have destroyed Leeds, a
but
10-man
but
lead.
Anand,
I think he was.
will you risk it if you have a 9 or a 10 point gap with 6 or 7 games to play? I mean, just playing a devil's advocate there. I mean, would you risk a player like KDB
Actually,
for let's
I
say
mean, if
a
City are
point?
willing to drop points at this rate by not playing the star players, I'm all in for Pep not featuring them and only
yeah,
focusing on Champions
Absolutely.
League.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a valid point, Suyan. But again, I personally feel if um, um, Torres scored the equalizer, if Torres wouldn't have scored that equalizer, I feel KDB would have come on because they scored the equalizer. Maybe Pep thought that maybe they will score another. And I think that is something because we saw KDBs and KDB warming up with Foden and Gundogan. Everybody was warming up. So I feel that he was about to come on, but they scored the equalizer, and then Pep thought that maybe, okay, even if you don't win, 1 point is good enough, or maybe we'll snatch a win. I think he didn't expect Leeds to win the match playing with one man less than City.
But it was a proper FIFA match, man. So many shots and shots, and it reminds me of that Barcelona Celtic game.
But strikers returning, Watkins, Dallas, and Iheanacho. So that was a good bit. Because of 𝗧𝗘𝗔𝗡𝗥, I changed my captain from Fernandes. I changed my captain from Salah to Fernandes, or else it would have been much better. But yeah, a decent game week, boys. Could have been much better because the start I had after the first 4 or 5 matches, probably everybody had returned except for Rafinha. But yeah, the United guys, amazing win. But in terms of FPL, it wasn't so good. But yeah, good game week, decent game week actually.
Yeah, absolutely. If getting 66, and after we spoke about how we got 41 and 36, you said you wouldn't have had a great game week. I mean, that would have been riots right here. But
we
talking
barely
about
pass you. The total of both of us barely passes yours, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like really happy to see that the 17 pointer that you missed out on Bamford when you got in Aguero for the first time in this season actually leveled up with this. So yeah, definitely luck is skill is skill, luck is luck. So that is how it goes. But definitely great game week and great green arrows as well. In the mini league, whenever I try and catch you and you just shoot up again, there was I think a 1 point difference between us before the game week started, and now I think you're like 18, 19 points ahead of me. So that is.
You're gonna get that lead back because you have Harry Kane, and we will see your plans. I think 18 points is not at all a lead. You are definitely going to surpass me once again.
Yeah, the kind of weeks
guys,
that
I'm feeling left out here.
It happens, Suraj. The last season, I was the one, man. Nobody was talking about me. I was like, but yeah, definitely. I think you're also not that far behind. I think it's still catchable.
The game is pretty close, man.
Yeah. I think
30, 40 points.
Since we've ever started.
He's not far.
Yeah, and since we've started taking FPL Escapades seriously, I think all of us have gone a step further into our planning of teams, and definitely one of the best seasons I'm personally having.
Yeah.
So before we move on to Anand, your plans for Game Week 32, I would just like to remind our supporters and listeners to please subscribe and like this video. It is free and it really helps us as an upcoming YouTube channel. And to continue the content and keep going, Anand, starting again with you after a game week that we've discussed that you've had, what are your plans for going into the double game week 32?
See, I have a red midfield, 𝗧𝗘𝗩𝗘𝗥, Rashford, Salah, and Bruno, of course. Now here, the thing with Rashford is, although he's playing well, but he is injured. He has a shoulder injury. He has an ankle injury. He's playing with injury. Clearly, we can see he's always subbed after the 60-minute mark or around 65th because probably all he knows that there's no point playing a struggling player. But then I sometimes feel that why don't you just give him a rest for a couple of weeks and then let him come back fresh? But yeah, it's business end. I can totally understand because Rashford has grown as a player. Even if you don't see him returning points, actually he is not doing bad. He's fourth in midfield this season for FPL midfielders returning points. He's just behind Salah, Bruno, and Son. So he's actually not done bad, to be honest. Even if nobody is talking about Rashford, but he's done pretty well actually. But then again,
maybe that is the reason Ole keeps playing him. I think Ole has Rashford in his FPL team as well.
Yeah, I think if KDB and Grealish would have been fit, probably they would have scored more points than Rashford. But yeah, as it is, Rashford is the fourth highest scoring midfielder this season in terms of FPL. But yes, he's a concern at the moment in my team because, he is playing with injuries. But then he's going to play Burnley, and then I feel like against Burnley of late, Burnley they are playing a very free style of football compared to what it was earlier. Because Burnley definitely they know that they are out of the relegation battle. They are no longer competing for the relegation battle this season, so they're playing with a lot of freedom. But against United, no, despite all the freedom that they are playing with, against United they will defend deep, and when they defend deep, and because they're so physical, I think the Rashford is definitely required. But yes, the obvious choice would be to transfer out Rashford for Son because Son has a double game week. But yes, there is some thought process that we will talk about Son and Kane, why I still don't have them. I will talk them when we discuss your and Suryansh's team. As of now, looks like a simple plan, getting an Alexander Arnold for Stones seems like a decent plan. So the reason that I'm going ahead with this move as of now, I'm not 100% sure if this Alexander Arnold can become Robertson or even can become Nat Phelps. This is, I was talking to a Liverpool fan, and he doesn't like calling him Phillips. He likes calling him Phelps because of Phelps is a legend, and he wants Phillips to become one. So yeah, Nat Phelps is somebody that I am
Isn't he
eyeing as
like
well.
24 already?
Anyway, so yeah, that's a Liverpool fan, so that is why he thinks he'll end up becoming some sort of Phelps. So Nat Phelps is a little bit nailed on. But again, loads of matches coming up before game week 32 starts. So because of that, I won't be going ahead with my transfers unless the Champions League matches are over. But yeah, as of now, Trent looks like a decent pick. He has been returning for the last 3 game weeks or 5. Yeah, maybe 4 matches before he blanked, but yeah, he has been in the points in the last 5 game weeks.
And Anand, a player with a point to prove. He has a lot to prove to.
Yeah, absolutely. Although defensively he's still shambles. I don't think he's defensively one of the best out there. Definitely not. And if I would be a manager, I'll definitely not play him as a right back because you start building your back by making it solid. And I sometimes don't understand that why is 𝗣𝗚𝗏𝗧𝗏 not even not even considered for the England setup. But yeah, that's a different discussion. We are talking about FPL, but yes, I would definitely have Trent in my team, maybe as a defensive midfielder, like what Guardiola did with the likes of Philip Lahm and Kimmich, or rather have Trent playing as a right winger also maybe. But definitely, anyway. So again, coming back to FPL against Leeds, playing at playing Leeds in their home, and Leeds turf is slippery. Leeds players are finding it difficult, and if they misplace a pass, we know that how lethal Liverpool is. And I'm really sorry, Suryansh. At the start of the season, I had no Liverpool players, and
coming to that.
We had this pack, but since the last 5 game weeks,
bloody going to no players to tripling up on this team, man. Come a long way, Anand.
Yeah, I've come a long way. I'll even tell you why that, but that's an offline offline topic that we'll discuss about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Trent, it seems like that. No Son, no Kane. I've talked a little bit about it. Rashford looks like if he's rested in the Europa, I feel Rashford will be pretty crucial for United against Burnley. Burnley is a team filled with men, and Rashford with his stature, I feel Ole would love to start him. But let's see what happens. I'll definitely keep an eye on that. If Rashford is not fit, then I think Rashford to Son or Lingard or Maddison seems to be like the best option as of now. Regarding forwards, sometimes I don't understand like what should I do with Bamford, Watkins, Iheanacho. Not Iheanacho. We'll just keep him safe for now. But Watkins and Bamford, there've been numerous occasions that I wanted to ship them out, but then they just keep coming back with goals and assists. And there was a mistake I did once. We've spoken about it so many times. Once I removed Bamford, got in 𝗣𝗚𝗏, and then Bamford scored a hat-trick. But yeah, last game Bamford played City. He gave an assist. Probably would have got more chances if Leeds didn't get that red card, and if because the moment Leeds got that red card, Bamford was subbed out in the 35th minute.
Yeah.
He still gave an assist. Watkins scored against the defending champions. So, I mean, these guys, they're scoring against the best in the business. So why should I doubt them scoring against the other teams? That's one. I don't understand how do I fit in the likes of Lacazette, Vardy, or Kane, because Lacazette, Vardy, and Kane are hot prospects for Game Week 32. So this is the team right now, as of now, boys. What about you, Suryansh? How's your transfer planning going on, and what is your current team at the moment?
Man, that was one hell of a description of your team, I must say. Explained everything properly, man. So yeah, sticking to what you were talking about, you've noticed there's no Liverpool asset there. One
Yeah,
of those game weeks, wherein you genuinely feel stupid as to why you would want to play FPL without any Liverpool players. But then,
absolutely.
I was thinking in the last 3 or 4 years, if there ever has been a season where somebody has to do it, why not this season? The kind of performances, the assets, apart from Salah, he's ever present. He just
Hmm.
delivers. The likes of Mane and Firmino, they've not done justice to the price tag or the reputation. So I've managed fairly well without them. So I see no reason not trusting the judgment. But yeah, um, this week, captaining Harry Kane, pretty safe. Not thinking about this one too much. It's either between him or Son. It's going to be Kane because I'm still pretty mad at what Son did this match, man, this game week. Uh, so yeah, that's for me. And the likes of Lingard will I don't know if Odegaard's fit enough to start this game. I don't think he'll be starting. So I have to see. Have to wait and see how that turns out to be. Arsenal will also have a Europa match midweek. So if he gets a few minutes there, that will be encouraging for me. So yeah, the transfer that I've gone for is a little, raise the eyebrows kind of a transfer in Ndombele. Main reason, just the fixtures, double game week. Plus Ndombele, I feel, he's been an integral part of what Spurs have been doing. He's been, an ever-present, a presence in the midfield now. And I think, he's been chipping in with, a few goals and assists and, here and there. Uh, so yeah, it's bottom in, and down relay for 5.9. So if, it's just a 1 week thing, if it, pays off, it pays off. And if it doesn't, I'll be right here whining, if not here on the review show about how stupid this pick was. But, for me to climb up the table to cover up 30, 40 points, what you were talking about, I need picks and players like these to perform, man. And I guess that's stopped happening since game week 29 or 30 for me. So I need my differentials to, step up for me. That's the only way I can, catch
Yeah.
Kshetrij and yourself. In terms of, the backline, I'm a little skeptical. With Cresswell, I did not watch the West Ham game. So if Anand or Kshitij, if was it a injury he sustained during the match, after the match, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it was
So
during the match, Suryansh.
okay,
That
so
is
I
why
have
he
to.
got a grand zero as well last week, because he got a yellow card and he was substituted
Yeah, the
before the hour
60-minute mark.
mark, and yeah, and
So
then
I'll
they even conceded a couple of goals. So he was
couple of
substituted.
goals.
I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like a hamstring, could be a knock as well. But yeah, we'll definitely should wait uh, for the press conferences, and you should definitely keep an eye on that. And yeah, that's really important for you. But Suryansh, are you not concerned about the city double up defense,
Yeah, man.
or
I
even
mean
for
that is
or
Moreover,
even for
that is.
Moreover, I was about to ask Suryansh, what is your plan for game week 33, man? I see you have a triple up on City and Spurs after you bring in Ndombele. Do
Hmm.
you plan to play your wild card if you have that, or
Absolutely. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay?
That's what I'm planning to do, man.
Then it makes sense because I was
Uh,
a little scared myself looking at like 7 players with a blank game week 33.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's what I'm
definitely,
trying to
yeah?
do. That's the only silver lining now. The remaining game weeks, I have all the chips active. So, bench and triple captain.
You have all
So,
the tips. Yeah.
yeah. So, I
I mean,
Too
how
many
did you
chances
make it
there.
till here, man? With all their chips, how did you make it till Game Week 32?
It was a bit of, I'd say, a lot of luck. There's some of the game weeks that I missed. The following game week, I had to make 2 or 3 transfers, took -4. That's the most that I've took a hit on -4, and it's been okay, man. That's one of the reasons why I'm, you know, not in the top 400, 500K, and I'm, aspire to reach where you guys are right now.
I mean, with all the
So
chips
yeah.
that you have, that shouldn't be a real problem for you anymore.
Yeah, man. Let's see. I hope so. Hope so with how it's. I just see the name Lingard there, and everything is triple captain him, and build the bench around West Ham. It's been a crazy, crazy season, man. In terms of FPL, start of the season, if just top two, and if somebody would have told me 3, 4, 5, pretty surprising, man. Pretty, pretty surprising.
Yeah, I remember
Yep.
having banters with a couple of Liverpool supporters about how they were topping the league at one point in time, and we were 13th or 14th, and not even in the top 10. So yeah, I spoke to them last a couple of days back, and like, uh, how do you like us now? And after we beat Spurs in the last game week, he hasn't picked up my call yet. So still waiting to talk, still waiting to talk to the likes of them. But definitely, and normally a great pick. Anand, do you feel that? I personally feel that Suryansh could have gone for a City swap to maybe Salah or Jota, but I think he's a way too intent on not getting a Liverpool asset this season.
That's
So
that's
do
just
you?
self-destruction, man. I don't endorse that, but that's just something that I started this season. CC Anand,
Uh,
still pissed, and but yeah, that's how it is, man. I mean, that's a very um, appealing choice going in for a Liverpool asset. But yeah, man, it is how it is. And the
I mean,
season's
Surya,
almost over.
because you're planning to play Wildcard next week. Do you also have your free hit chip left?
I don't think so, man. Free hit, I guess
Okay.
we use the
So if
free
free
hit.
hit's gone, then yeah, I mean, you can still play a wildcard even this game week, but that's a different discussion altogether.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you actually have a pretty decent team, to be honest. But yeah, the concerns for me are City defenders and Sterling, not because of their quality, but more because of
This
um,
this this
of
the game week that just went by. I was very happy when I saw the City team. Very happy when I saw other managers, crying, whining about players not starting. It was a very
yeah,
very rare occasion wherein all three players started, and they
yeah,
gave me a total return of 4 points, man. Who can imagine, total
yeah,
investment of almost
absolutely.
20 million in my team, and they gave me 4 points. So yeah, I mean, I was really expecting this could have been a real differential
Mhm.
point tally. Even if it could have, hit 15 or 20, that would have been 15, 20 points, not a lot of managers would have had.
So Suraj, aren't you concerned about the City assets? Because loads of they have a lot of matches before they play their Premier League match against Villa. So you wouldn't believe it, uh, but they play Villa on 22nd, if I'm not wrong, and before that they're going to play Dortmund, and then they are also going to play Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. So they are having two big fixtures before that. So you'll have to wait for two matches before you can figure out Stones, Cancelo, and Sterling if whether they are going to start or not. That's one. Plus,
But Anand, the
uh,
likes of RK starting and playing, is given, he Pep has what? I mean, 4 center backs at his disposal now, four or
yeah,
five. So
five in
that
fact.
gives him five, right? So that gives him enough room for chopping and changing. And I think um, let's see, man. I mean, a valid point. And I'm in this situation because I don't want to take a hit on my team, and it's been like
Yes.
this for quite some time now. 2, 3 game weeks that I wanted to change my backline, but some injury. Like even this week, I would have loved to change somebody from the backline, but the injuries. Klopp is not the only one who's crying about injuries, I suppose.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yes, in case Suryansh, against Chelsea, if Pep plays a weak squad, then I guess at least Cancelo and Stones are kind of nailed against Villa because Stones and Cancelo are his go-to defenders when he wants to play against a stronger team.
Absolutely.
And Villa is definitely a strong team.
Absolutely. And talking about Sterling, I mean, I was just, watching Rio's podcast today, listening to his what he had to say about Raheem Sterling. He will be interviewing Sterling this coming week. He was talking about that and, on how important a player he becomes, a player like Sterling become for a manager, even through his ups and downs, he has a
Yeah.
staggering record when it comes to goal scoring, around the likes of Drogba or something. I might be wrong, but that's just staggering, considering the fact that he's a winger, 26-year-old.
Yeah.
So,
Every year he keeps
so
on scoring a lot of goals.
absolutely. So people say that we've discussed this in the past that he scores a lot of open goals. So yeah, man. I
But
mean,
is he out of favor, Suryansh? Is he out of favor? Like earlier we used to see Sterling playing a lot, but is he somehow now out of favor? Because now we're seeing the likes of Foden, Gundogan, KDB taking up the mantle. Even against Dortmund, Sterling didn't play last time around. So is he
what I
getting
feel
out of
is
favor now?
KDB. What I feel, Sterling has always been the second best or the third best player in that team. It's only recent in the last, only this season when Aguero's been out for almost the entire season. He's had to step up, and I personally, better. You've been in football for a way longer time than you. I just follow football, and there's sometimes a winger or a midfield strike partnership, and if that's hindered, I think he's been playing a lot of games with sometimes Jesus, sometimes with no striker. That Pep system. So I think that comes into play somewhat. But with quality players, we all know that these hindrances. In terms of FPL, he might not be returning, but whenever I look at Sterling, he's always in the center of it, man. I mean, winning
Yeah,
penalties and free kicks, dangerous areas. Always trying that something special. Sometimes it comes off, and sometimes it doesn't. This season, he's been not being up to the mark.
absolutely.
I agree.
I think you have a fair point, Suryansh. The only thing is, the only concern that I have personally is, like, if you're investing like 10 million or an 11 million on a player, at least you want him to start. And I mean, there shouldn't be any doubt whether he's gonna start or not. So
Absolutely.
that's the only thing I personally feel. But yeah, I think you can, because if you get Ndombele, you will be having a pretty good team nevertheless, because you know, the Spurs assets are kind of like a chip for this game week. They are sort of a,
It's
some sort of
Spurs,
chip.
man. We've had Jose as a manager. We don't really know what to expect. You get beaten 3-1 one game week, you score five the next, and suddenly Jose is back with all his gestures and everything, and you can't,
Yeah,
all this and so yeah, man. It's like
yeah.
fingers crossed. I mean,
No.
yeah, go
Sorry,
on.
Suryash, go on.
Yeah, it's just that I hope this is one of those game week when the three Spurs assets, they combine.
We've spoken a lot. I think it's time to move to the wild man of our group. And talking about a wild man, he's also decided to do something wild this week. So let's hear from him. Kshitij, go on.
I mean, I did not really decide to do something wild. I was forced or like coerced into going into the activating my wildcard chip. I haven't really fixed my mind on it yet, but looking at my team and the injuries and also some fixtures that I'm not really happy with, that some of my FPL assets do have. I DCL not starting did hurt me, but I assume that it was only for that one game week, and next game week he will definitely be back. But since they're playing Spurs, and Suryansh correctly mentioned that, you never know about Jose. Definitely, Spurs are not keeping clean sheets, but you never really know what kind of Spurs will turn up a particular game week. So that makes my faith on DCL waver a little and go in another direction. And as Neto was just a bad luck. I mean, I got him in for one game week, and that is when he got injured, and he's out for the rest of the season. And again, like Target, Ben Me, Diaz, in general, City assets in general have finally bit me in the Pep Rule system, like I mentioned earlier. So that is why I felt that I would have played my triple captain chip this game week rather on Kane, But because of certain circumstances and my agenda of getting rid of City assets for Game Week 33 has coerced me into playing my wildcard. So uh, this is kind of my wildcard team. I'm pretty happy with it, and like my strategy going behind these assets was like targeting fixtures. I'm not really happy with my goalkeepers as of yet. I'm still trying to find that one other keeper apart from Martinez who to play. Foster is it is for now, as he's you know absolutely in favor over McCarthy. Definitely Southampton again play Spurs in the double game week. That is, I'm not really for starting Foster, but definitely I feel that I shall be able to find a better goalkeeper pick. Yeah, and then it is kind of an overhaul, absolutely, with only Kane, Watkins, Lingard, Martinez, Bruno, and Shaw making it in my wildcard draft. Dallas, I
I
feel
love the
that
backline, man.
yeah, I actually Semedo is somebody I've already always tried and ignored from Wolves. I've had Cody, I've had Size, so I just thought this is the right moment of getting in Semedo because he has that sea green run of fixtures. The upcoming 4 fixtures look pretty decent, and he kept a clean sheet, got bonus as well in the last game. Uh, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Shaw is again. I think he's improved so much, and I think we've all seen that meme floating on Twitter with Jose Mourinho's face when he's looking at Shaw and Ole celebrating. So that definitely brings smile to my face as well. But yeah, Trent, like Anand, you've correctly mentioned, is he's coming back to form. He's had so many game weeks where he's returning, and definitely I do agree with you that his offensive prowess is way more a reason to getting him in rather than his defensive prowess. But definitely he, on his day, we've all last season we saw him returning 24 points, and I think the time for Liverpool is coming given their upcoming fixtures against Leeds and Newcastle, and then only United fixture that is in red, and which I'm pretty sure that United is going to win.
Bench him. Bench him for that, bro.
Yeah. So I think Son is self-explanatory given the double game week that I want to target, given the low scoring week that I've had. Lingard, Messi, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, whatever you want to call him, he's definitely staying in my team till the end. And I think he'll not be on the bench anytime soon. Again, I've targeted Iheanacho and Maddison in the strike force because I think again Leicester have had great game weeks, and Anand's pick on Iheanacho and the reason why he's got him in has given me is reason enough for me to get him in as well. Yeah, so this is basically it. I think I've tried and targeted a lot of fixture specific FPL assets, and yeah, I got in Jota for 7, and he was at 6.7 if I'm not wrong only a week back. So and I had exact 7 million to complete my squad, so that played in my favor. So definitely going ahead with this. Did not really want to play wildcard yet, but this is it. This is the team. What thoughts do you have, Anand? What do you think about this?
I think it's a brilliant team. If I would be wild carding, I'll have a pretty similar team.
Let me screenshot this.
Especially because this game week is dedicated to Spurs in general. It's their week for the taking. They are the only team this game week who's going to have a double. So targeting Spurs is kind of
Mute over.
Sorry, not targeting
Spurs is a sort of a suicidal mission, if you if you want to call it like that.
And you're
for
on
this
it.
game week. Yeah, I'm on it. Yeah, for sure. As of now, I have my reasons for it, and I may sound stupid nice, like I have been on a lot of occasions this season because I've not owned Kane, barring the free hit game week in game week 29 when it was a blank game week. Apart from that, I have never owned Kane this season. So yeah, it's definitely been stupid for sure. But the reason that I have had is I've spoken enough about it. Who do I remove from my forwards? And then of course Spurs are a very defensive team, although very clinical. But yeah, I mean the thing with your team is there's a thing about Semedo. Although fixtures look really green for them, but I really don't know if Wolves are playing well at the moment. That's something for me to reconsider. That's one. between 𝗧𝗘𝗩𝗘𝗥, Pereira, I think they have great fixtures and their returns coming once again. They don't have, either Champions League or Europa as well, so they don't have a lot of matches left too. But yes, you should definitely watch their FA Cup match against Southampton.
Yeah.
So that will be a big match. So maybe you should make a decision post that. But honestly, Kshetrij, I somehow just feel to accommodate the likes of say Son and Jota. These are the two main players, or say even a Trent. These are the three main players that you're playing your wild card. Otherwise, your team's not bad at all. But yeah, and probably Iheanacho as well. That's another player. So you are probably thinking of getting in 4 players for this game week. And yeah, it kind of makes sense too at this point. If you're planning to bring in 4 or 5 players, so maybe not a good idea to play so many hits. Yeah, so that's one for sure. I think a great team. Like I said,
I absolutely love that defense.
I would be wildcarding.
Sorry,
Surya. If I would be wildcarding, I'll play a very similar team.
I love that defense. It's like Kshetrij playing with no defenders at all. I mean, all the defenders, even if they don't give you a clean sheet, none of them is the kind of defender I would not expect an assist out of, or even a goal. I mean, Trent, Dallas, Castagne, brilliant defense. I'd copy that to my team, and you might just see that the next game week, Kshetrij. Might just save a few bucks on the keeper. My suggestion, you could, Semedo is somebody I think you should probably have another thought about, but that's just a personal thing. I mean, you could save a few bucks here and go for a keeper like you were talking about. Apart from that, it's a bang on team, man. Team, that looks good, not only on paper, asset wise, but likes of Iheanacho, Watkins, who've also been performing this season. So yeah, man.
Yep.
Yeah, the only problem that if I go with this team is that I'll face after playing my wildcard chambers, who do I bench from the top 8, and I think that's got to be Watkins, given that he's facing City and other assets are way too good to let go. So yeah, that is that, and yeah, apparently, hopefully, like one of my chips, at least does some help to me. My bench boost gave me 4. I haven't had the courage to play my triple captain yet, but yeah, that remains to be seen for another game week. And yeah, with that, I think we've discussed a lot of FPL assets and going into game week 32, and that has been great discussing. But all in all, Suryansh, before we wrap up this episode, the most important questions every week: who is going to be your captain choice for game week 32?
Yeah, man, it's gonna be Kane. Gave you my reason, a stupid reason. It had to be between Kane and Son, and I'm still pissed at Son, and that's why it's gonna be Kane. But on a serious note, I think a big haul is due. And to be honest, I cannot think of many better players in terms of he's definitely gonna play 150 minutes.
Yeah,
both these games. So there's not a lot of players I can we can say that who can do this. So Kane, I'm expecting a lot out of him. I'm assuming so are you.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure, like the FPL community in general will be split between Kane and Son this upcoming game week, with a lot of FPL managers playing triple captain as well. I've already seen a couple of drafts where
I have a feeling 𝗣𝗏𝗡𝗏 might just overscore Son.
Just because he's going to be a transfer. I know that feeling, man. That is what I felt when I was getting in Neto for game week 31. But yeah, but absolutely.
I won't be surprised if he doesn't start both games. Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely, I'm with you with Kane captain right now. I'm still definitely battling myself with the Son and Kane, but definitely I think it's time for the Hurricane to strike again. As you correctly mentioned, Hall is
auditioning for the biggest club in the world, man.
Yeah, absolutely, and apparently a lot of the clubs, rightly so, want to get him in their team as well. But Anand, I see that coming back to our discussion of from no Liverpool assets to tripling up and now captaining Salah, or like at least
it's like Anand and I, and it's like a road, and both of us are on extreme ends. He doesn't. If I'm not wrong, you don't have any asset from Spurs, right?
No,
And
he
here
doesn't.
I am
He
having
doesn't.
3 assets from
Liverpool.
Spurs, and you have 3 from Liverpool, and I have none from Liverpool. Man, this is going to be crazy.
So yeah, I mean, the reason I got in Salah when I started the triple up chain on Liverpool was because KDB was unfit, and I personally think that the top 3 midfielders in FPL are KDB, Bruno, and Salah. So when the season started, the team structure was such that I could afford only 2. Because if I would have afforded all 3, then I couldn't have a good defense or something like that. But this season was a COVID special season, and I soon realized that I need to have a decent bench, at least 4.5 or 5 million players who could play and who were nailed as well. So that is what I realized pretty soon this season. And because of that, I never could afford all 3, Salah, KDB, and Bruno. So this is something that we discussed, Suryan, at the start of the season. And that is why I felt that Bruno would be the one who would outperform. But yeah, so Salah is back. That was one thought. Also, I don't know why, but Salah, Jota, and Trent are again coming back into the hype, probably from the last game week, I guess. But before, and especially after Jota, started scoring a lot of goals, because Jota scored a brace in game week 30. So because of that, people started jumping back on Liverpool's train once again. But my reason to go with Salah or Jota or all these guys from game week 26 or something like that, in that period onwards, was because people were removing Salah, and he somehow became like a differential sort of a player, because a lot of guys started removing him. And that is why I just thought, okay, guys, thank you so much for removing him. I know this man's quality. I'm getting him in. So that was the thing. Yeah, but again, with when it comes to the captaincy choice, the reason that I'm going with Salah is because in the reverse fixture, he scored a hat-trick against Leeds United. And like I said, the match is, in Leeds, the match is Leeds home stadium, is at Leeds home stadium, and it's pretty slippery and all. And I think
Now you sound like
Liverpool.
Klopp. Yeah, that's a perfect build-up to a Liverpool game. Man.
I didn't say that it's windy. I didn't say that. So anyway, but so Liverpool they might score a lot of goals, although they might lose against Leeds, but they might score a lot of goals. And secondly, regarding Kane and Son, so this is where I come in, and I'm kind of avoiding City and Spurs for game week 32. Now, City will be playing on 14, 17, Champions League, then FA Cup, and then 21, they'll be playing Aston Villa. And on 25th, City will be playing their Carabao Cup final. Now, Spurs will be playing on 17th, so they'll have a break because they are no longer in Europa. So they'll be playing on 17th against Everton. Yeah. So Spurs will be playing Everton on 17th, and then Spurs will be playing Southampton on 21, and then Spurs will be playing City on 25th, which is again the Carabao Cup. I don't know why. I have this feeling that Spurs will field a strong 11th against Everton because they lost the reverse fixture 1-0, and Ancelotti is a strong tactician. So I think Spurs will definitely play a good lineup against Everton. But the match that they have on 21st against Southampton, I just feel that Spurs will rest some players. And the reason why I feel is because Southampton are pretty shambolic right now. They conceded 3 against West Brom. They conceded 2 against Burnley. So they're conceding a lot of goals. So, he will need his players at full rest against City if they want to win the Carabao Cup. I just have a feeling somehow that he will start with the likes of Vinicius, he will start the likes of Gareth Bale against Southampton. And if they are not winning the match, maybe he will bring on Harry Kane and Son in the second half. So that is what I feel. So seems like this is not a double game week, but to me, it seems like it is a 1.5 game week for them. So yeah, that's the thought process I have.
But yeah,
Boys.
definitely,
Yeah, over to you, boys.
if Jose does rest Kane and Son in the game against Southampton, and Spurs end up trailing, but I feel that Kane and Son both are such caliber players that they can give you returns even if they play for 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
At least I would hope so. I mean, that might be an
And
FPL
Jose
manager.
has his back against the ball, man. The kind
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
results,
Also, my rank is not top 10K. I'm currently ranked 160K. So I have to take a little bit
Thanks
of
for that
risk.
K, bro.
So I'm 160K at the moment, and because of that, I have to take some sort of risk.
Absolutely, and I think now at the final stretch of the season, I think if at least anybody or if any FPL manager does really want to boost his rank, I think you have to play differential and take gut calls. You cannot play template because else you end up staying there only, and you only have small green arrows, whereas you really want to pick up those points. And yeah, I think like Suryansh mentioned about 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗔𝗡𝗦, like if you really want to go differential, maybe Captain Lingard or somebody in the upcoming game weeks, or maybe Dallas or Martinez. Because if you would have captained John Stone, you would still get 30 points last game week. So that's something pretty crazy. So you never know who to captain as a differential.
Trust your players.
Absolutely.
I had Johnson in game week 1.
But that was a long time ago, man. We've come a long, long way.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Anyway, but I think the biggest differential 𝗧𝗘𝗔𝗡𝗥 for this game week will be if Harry Kane and Son blank for me. That will be the biggest differential. So
I'll be hoping that Liverpool blank as well, Salah blanks as well. But
so let's do a trade.
Sweet
let's
dreams,
do a
my
trade.
friend.
Harry Kane scores 10 and Salah scores 12. Let's do this trade, please.
Let Harry Kane score 1 and Salah score 0. I can live with the difference of 1, bro.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
okay,
come on,
it was nice talking to you all.
Well, I get definitely every manager is fending for himself right now, given that we are only like 7 game weeks away from the penultimate game week. But yeah, boys, it's been lovely talking to you. It's been quite some time, and double game week 32 ranks are going to sway left, right, and center with a blank game week and a probable double game week upcoming as well. So yeah, it's been an amazing talk regarding the FPL assets for Game Week 32. To all of our listeners and supporters, all of our social media handles are in the description. Do give us a follow, like this video, subscribe to our channel. It really helps us as an upcoming YouTube content creator. As always, we hope that you've enjoyed this episode for Game Week 32. And as always, have a good one, and may the arrows be green. Cheers.
Cheers, lads.